everyone, and welcome to L.A.L.L Nutrition. My name is L.A.L.L and I'm a holistic nutritionist. And today I wanted to talk about the recently released WHO recommendations about bacon, hot dogs, and processed foods. So to me, this isn't a surprise that the WHO has deemed compounds in these products as carcinogenic, meaning they cause cancer. And I'm sure a lot of you probably already know that these foods aren't necessarily healthy, but maybe this is a very shocking statement to see that they actually are cancer causing. So why are they cancer causing? So when I saw these articles, sort of the first thing I wanted to do was look up the compound PAH that they reference. Sometimes these articles are very simple and they don't go into detail about why something is carcinogenic. So I went and I looked up what PAHs were, and they're polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. And I'm actually a chemist as my first profession, so I've heard of these compounds, and as I was looking up studies about these compounds, I came across a lot of startling facts. I've personally always known this is bad for you and they are cancer causing, but to sort of see the studies is startling for me to revisit them. So for instance, PAHs, if you take one example of because it's just sort of a general term for a bunch of compounds, and PAHs are actually found in nature. They're found in plants, they're found in tar and coal and things like that, but we actually have an overabundant supply of them in our environment from burning of fossil fuels and of carbon-containing products. So if you're consuming these food-like substances, which is what I think they really are, they're really addictive and they're not really real food, you're getting a double dose because we're already getting a lot of these compounds in our environment. So it's, it's sort of, we're getting a double whammy. And through food, you can really control what you're getting in your system. You can control your environment to some degree, but you can't control the total environment. But whatever goes into your mouth, you have 100% control over. So I think, we can sort of lessen the impact of these compounds. So these PAHs, I took one example that I found that's found in cigarette smoke and also in these processed meat products, and it was benzene A pyrene. And essentially what happens, this cyclical structure basically goes through a couple of reactions in the body and eventually attaches to the DNA. It reacts with your DNA. So once it attaches to DNA, so you can think of this, maybe it's this little gloss of the DNA, and you attach something to it. So now it's no longer, let's say this, you attach it to it, it's no longer the same DNA, and this DNA will then get replicated to the same form. But this extra bit is now going to do something wonky to the DNA. The DNA is not going to behave like it would have before this extra bit was added to it. And so in a new cell and cells that keep replicating, you're going to have things go wrong in the cell because it's no longer the pure DNA. It's now been altered with this reaction. So through that alteration of the DNA, you're going to get weird things happening in the cell or in your body. So that's where the cancer really comes into play, because as the cell sort of is not functioning properly and it starts duplicating and replicating, it eventually will lead to cancer. So that's sort of the mechanism of how the cancer is caused, and they said you start seeing it in tissues that replicate really quickly. The cells replicate very quickly. So in the bone marrow or in the lungs. So, it's really interesting that the WHO is finally releasing this finding, but the way I'm sort of thinking about it is that it's great we have new information now to help us. Let's say, one, if you have an addiction to these food substances and you really want to stop having them, this might be a really important place to start. Like, it's going to cause cancer. It's going to directly affect your health. And at the end of the day, your health is your responsibility. It's not the WHO's responsibility. It's not your doctor's responsibility. It's not your nutritionist's responsibility. It's your responsibility. And guess what? That's really empowering. Think about it. It's so amazing that you can actually create your health and make yourself healthy and make yourself feel vibrant. I actually just saw, a book that's going to be coming out, and it was actually quoted as saying that we have control over 95% of our genetics through our food and lifestyle. Think about it, 95%. And to some, that's something to celebrate, because think about how amazing you can be if you're not sort of a byproduct of thinking it's in your genes or you're destined for something. So your health is not determined by your mother's health or your grandmother's health. It really is determined by your nutrition and your lifestyle. So you can take this as an empowering step. So the WHO releasing this, you can take this as another piece of information, of awareness that you can now add into your life. Let's say you are addicted to processed meats or hot dogs. So what you can do is to start now putting in good foods into your body. You know, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of cruciferous vegetables that will actually help with cancer. You know, making sure you're buying organic foods that are lower in pesticides, so you're not getting even more chemicals into your system. You can then clean up your environment. So, you know, the chemicals you're using, you can look at the Dirty Dozen chemicals and reduce your exposure to that. You can get out and be more active in nature. So you're breathing in fresh air, so you're not in an environment maybe where these PAHs are, there are going to be even more of them. So I think this is really important to take this as an awareness, and that you can then now have power over your health. And another thing is that these are all sort of bigger things that you can change, but if you want to even go deeper, let's say I've had clients that I wrote this article before, and I've had people email me and saying they never knew certain things. I actually wrote an article on Matcha green tea latte, and they always thought it was a health drink, and then they realized it was doing a lot of damage to their health, and so they weren't aware of it. So now that you're aware of it, you can do so much, and if you really want to go deeper, you can go for a deeper detox. I always say gentle and lifestyle changes are better, but there are things you can do to even go further in your detoxification process, just to make sure your body is its healthiest. And so there's so many things you can do with this information, and no one, you know, it's always really progress over perfection, because no one will ever know 100% about anything. We can, you know, really intuitively think about our food and our environment, but a lot of the times we're so busy we can't, and that's why agencies like the WHO release things that say this causes cancer. But you know what? If we really think about it, we would know that these are not real foods, and that, you know, it's not good for our health, and, you know, we're not doing ourselves a service. Sort of a last tip is that, you know, if you wanted to really try it out, you could eliminate these foods for a period of time, let's say a week or two, and see how you feel. Because really, when you feel better and you know it's because of a certain food that you've eliminated or added in, so eliminate those foods and add in more fresh fruits and veggies, you'll see a difference in your health. And so your experience will be the actual thing that motivates you. But it might be kind of you know, you might have a little bit of resistance at first, but you need to kind of get over that hump. So hopefully I've shed some light on what PAHs are. Obviously we know that those processed foods are crappy and they're not really good for you. They bind to DNA, and so they're carcinogenic, and we're getting extra exposure from our environment. But there's so much we can do through our nutrition and lifestyle to really mitigate and reduce the effects of these foods. And you can always start over again, and you can always rebuild your health. That's the amazing thing about your body. So thank you for stopping by L.A.L.L Nutrition, and I hope you got a lot of insightful and valuable information from this video. And if you liked it, please like it down below, and please subscribe. And you can head over to my blog at www.llnutrition.com/blog, and you can leave comments over there. You know, I'd like to really, you know your thoughts or your feelings, or if anything was confusing, please do let me know. And I look forward to talking to you. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.